So I've just finished recording a podcast with Kristin Rinden. Hope I said that right. A fabulous lady. I'm honoured to have her on the Leading Ladies podcast. She is a production coordinator, production manager. She started in the industry well over 25 years ago, maybe longer. I can't quite work that one out. Fabulous lady, great chat. Thoroughly enjoyed talking about from mental health to the work she does in the industry, how she got into the industry, what she thinks the industry's like. You name it, we covered everything. And I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope you do too. And as always, I would like to make a special mention to Lightswitch, the sponsor of Leading Ladies podcast. Without their support in every single way, it just gives me, even not that, a sponsorship is the backbone to what I do, because I do it because I love it, but to have their support is absolutely incredible. We had planned on doing a group ladies podcast for the ladies of Lightswitch, but sadly, because of Christmas, New Year, we did have to cancel it this month, but it is coming soon. So that will be my very first group podcast with a lovely bunch of ladies. And I cannot wait to hear from them, how they all got into the industry, how they're now, how did they get involved with Lightswitch, what they do, how long they've been working for the company, and what their views are, being a lady in the industry. So I really can't wait for that. If you'd all like to take a little moment to watch Lightswitch's video, this is coming now.
Lightswitch is a collective of award-winning lighting, media, and visual designers committed to changing how people experience the world. For more than 30 years, we have been practicing pragmatic design. At Lightswitch, we believe it's our responsibility to keep our clients' creative, logistical, and financial objectives in balance. Lightswitch's range of expertise is extensive, from working one-on-one with clients and artists to multidisciplinary teams collaborating on all visual aspects of temporary and permanent projects. Lightswitch creates unforgettable moments and powerful experiences. We celebrate our team, clients, and all of our industry's diverse and talented people. As a part of our commitment to inclusion in all aspects of entertainment and experience design, Lightswitch is proud to sponsor Leading Ladies.
Hello and welcome to episode 285 with me, Sarah Burney, host of the Leading Ladies. What news do I have for you this month? Well, it's been absolutely hectic. I'm now in the UK. As you can see, it's not my normal backdrop. I am actually in my auntie's visiting basically over Christmas. First time in many, many years I've actually been back. Very fortunate to be here because we've just returned from Las Vegas. So we were actually there for 10 days. Now, Marcel said to me, Sarah, 10 days is far too long in Vegas. And yes, it was, but then no, it wasn't. There's still so many things that we would love to go back and do, especially the hikes that are quite close by. Really, there's so many incredible things that we would like to do. We did the usual touristy parts as well, which was great. And the main reason why I was there was because of LDI. So first time at LDI, I absolutely loved it. You can check out Marcel and myself's LDI review on Geezer Gear. I think it's episode 283. So I won't chat too much about that now, but absolutely loved it. Organising the event, Dining with Dinosaurs. I've met some incredible people. and just very, very fortunate to be able to go over to Las Vegas. I don't leave the island a lot. I think the last time, well, actually, no, I did leave the island for Blink 182, which was in end of August. But apart from that, I hadn't actually left my beautiful island of Crete for about 2 years. So really, I just happy in Crete. But it is also nice at the same time to leave the island. We had a couple of days in London, over to Las Vegas, and now here in the UK for Christmas. And then next week I will be back home with my 2 dogs and however many cats are in the garden right now. This next lady, Kristin, absolutely incredible. We said actually at the end of the podcast that we didn't really get a chance to talk a lot. So I met Kristin on Blink 182, and she was so busy, production coordinator, being mom to absolutely everybody. So we didn't really get time to talk apart from I think my very last day. I was like, would you please come on my podcast? And anyway, she said yes. We've been in sort of communications since then. And right before Christmas, it's now the 20th of December, we've managed to get together, record what I think is a really, really wonderful podcast. Kristin has started off in the marketing world for, I can't remember what brand now, but for a toilet paper company, going into Coca-Cola, going into Pop-Tarts, then a flamenco dancer. I mean, come on, that's just amazing. Spent 1 year in Spain before coming back into the touring world, basically as road manager, through to wardrobe, production coordinator, production manager, you name it, she's been there, and really is the nicest lady you can ever wish to be, not only in life to meet, but just if she's your mum on the tour, then you are very, very lucky, and you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to have a very safe, secure, and wonderful tour, basically. Everything that she's been saying and everything she's been talking about really kind of like hits home to how we can do stuff, how we should do stuff, how we should be in our life. One of her mottos is basically, give 100%, for that day, and do the best you can, which goes without saying. Some days you'll have, a little low day, a little high day, but just always make sure you can do the very best for that day. And, be kind. Be kind. And I think a lot of people that I have on the show here, that's one thing that we all say is be kind. Treat people with respect, and you'll get respect back. Well, again, you'd like to hope so, but it's not about always receiving, it's about giving. So I'm a big believer in that. Kristin is a big believer in that as well. No job is beneath any of us. If you have to tidy something up, you tidy it. If you have to push a box, you go push it. If it makes the team happier, be that team player. Obviously, you've got to do your job, whichever department you're in. You've got to focus on that. But if you do have some spare time, or reach out to someone, are you feeling okay? So we spoke about the mental health of touring. Really, it's been a fabulous talk. I'm so happy I grabbed Kristin at the end of the Blink 182 tour, because, I got to know a lot more about her. I really hope that you enjoy this episode just as much as I have. And so basically that's all that's left to say is please welcome Kristin to the podcast. Hello, Kristin. How are you? Welcome to Leading Ladies.
Thank you for having me.
An absolute pleasure. For those of you that are listening, I met Kristin on Blink 182 tour. And when I say a tour, how long was it? It was a 1 week leg in Ireland and Scotland.
It was a pretty short, I think it was like 2 weeks for that leg. But Blink had been going on for like 2 years. I'd been with them from like the beginning of last year. So kind of halfway through their entire 2 year.
Yep, you're back. let's try it. Okay, so third time lucky. Seriously, get me on the ground somewhere, not on internet stuff. I hate
I know.
it. But then I say that, but my job's always remote, and I'm here at my auntie's at the moment in the UK because I was very fortunate to go to LDI, and I was planned. Well, I did end up working when I was in America. I was there for 10 days. Yeah. And I was like, the internet's going to be amazing because in Crete it's good, but it's not as fast as the UK internet. It's brilliant. But when we rocked up to the hotel, the internet was like all it did was the circle of doom the whole time. And I told my boss Marcel, I was like, Marcel, I cannot work. Like it's literally like I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I went to the reception, literally nothing, and I said, is this normal? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, no way. Like I was expecting, America to be like the internet of speed and really. And there was a lovely man in Vegas called James, and he actually, he'd messaged Marcel to say that he could give me a dongle, and I'm expecting like just a little pocket thing. Well, he rocks up with literally a little tiny, like what do you call them, a proper case, like a touring case with I mean, seriously. And I was like, wow, okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I managed to work when I was in Vegas, so that was a good thing.
Well, like you used to be able to plug in, remember, like old like Ethernet cables, but it's like you hardly have that option anymore. It's like Wi-Fi works or it doesn't. So
yeah, exactly. And as I said, I mean, living in Crete, more often than not, if I go to a hotel or something to work remotely, I'm like, oh, no internet, like,
I know, it's like water and air, it's like you can't live without it.
Seriously. And I was walking around Vegas, and it's fine when you're walking around in home or here in England because you've got your phone, you can answer anything, you can keep on top of everything, because we all do when we're out, we all keep on top of everything.
Yeah, nonstop.
I literally had zero internet. So then I'd be like, well, am I missing anything? And then we would jump on the bus, what was it called? The Deuce bus. And they had the best internet. So I'd find myself working on the Deuce bus.
That's wild. Usually bus internet is terrible. So that's impressive.
Yeah. So for those of you that are listening, I met Kristin on Blink-182. And that was back in, when was that? October?
August?
Yeah, maybe
was it
August.
End of August? Like
maybe
August?
Yeah, it was end of August. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because it was, I flew home like right before my birthday. So yeah, it was the end of August. And that was like our last like leg of the tour.
Yeah.
Short leg in the UK, but yeah.
You had a break. So you joined the tour last year.
I joined in January of this year. This year. I guess it's still 2024.
Oh,
yeah. This year, January.
And because this last leg, it was only like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was 10 days for the last few, like say, gigs. But that was because they were cancelled a year back. Was that?
That's true. So when they started their, I mean, this has been sort of a 2-year cycle for them. So they started in 2023, and they canceled a few shows, I know, in South America because of, I think Travis got injured, his hand, and then I believe they canceled a few guests in the UK. I don't remember why, but that was supposed to happen last year, and then they just tacked it on to this final.
I think, I believe, only because I think somebody told me, was it Travis had a baby? Well, not him, but...
He did have a baby. Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I wasn't there, but that's what it was. He flew home to have the baby. Which is, and then it's great to see. I mean, I only joined it for it was 4 days that I was with you guys. Yes, and I finally got to hire this catering company that I've been trying to hire for years, and we got you for 4 days.
Yeah, because I had a call from Pete, and he was like, Sarah, what's your availability? And I was like, well, I need to check with Marcel, my boss from this. And he was like, well, it's 4 days. It'll be about a week away from Crete. And I used to work, the last time I worked on a tour for this catering company, Rockpool Tour Catering.
Yes, Rockpool.
Was before COVID, and I haven't done anything since. That was my first tour back. Yeah.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, Pete, it was so nice to get a phone call, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to go back. And I remember rocking up to the first gig, and I was like, oh my God, like I haven't done this
Do I
before.
remember what to do?
Well, I mean,
That's how I
okay,
was after COVID. I was like, I don't remember. Do I remember? Am I getting, oh God, what am I
it's not
forgetting?
necessarily, like I was doing all the dressing rooms, and it's not rocket science. You go through
No.
a list, you put it in, and that's it. But I do like to be organized. So when you're going into a rig that's not yours, you've got everything all over and somebody else's ideas of how it's going to work. I was like, oh my God. And then like just being
Yes.
on the feet for like 15 hours, I was like, I'm just not used to this. Take me back to But everybody, I mean, was so nice. The crew were just lovely.
Yeah, we had a really, really great crew. It was a really good vibe, that whole tour. You don't
Yeah.
always get that. And this one was really, really nice. And I think it's just because the band is great and tour manager, Sully's great, management's great. They're all just, they care,
Yeah.
and I think it's means like it makes such a huge difference.
I think when you are on tour, especially because, we become a family, and when you've got people that you can rely on, and, even the security guys, they were so nice to
Oh,
me.
they're the best.
Oh,
You can always tell when
really?
a security guy is like really good at his job because he's like the nicest guy, like
Yeah.
calm, nice. And then they're just like,
Yeah.
experts at their gig.
And
I don't know
sometimes,
why,
like
but
I
that's the
have to
way it is.
say, I mean, I started like on the catering side for touring, and if you go, I mean, I've had lots of different experiences, and especially if you're doing a short, well, like this, a short tour, some tours that come through really aren't nice to you because they don't think they're going to see you again, so they're, it's
Right.
like that sounds horrible, but they're just like, and I understand that because people, you're traveling all the time. But one thing, that you'd mentioned, is be kind and respectful, and that's the first thing I noticed with the whole crew was straight away it was welcome guys, I hear you with us for this week. And again, it's 1 week, maybe I'll never see anybody again. Maybe I'll see, who knows?
Right.
Um,
Right.
but it's so nice and it's refreshing to see a tour like that.
Yeah, but I think it's really important. I mean, touring is such a special beast and it really can take a lot out of you, right? And so, but what also, so that like community and that family is really important, especially when you do get that, but also just understanding that every job is important,
Yeah.
like every job. Truck
Yep.
drivers, bus drivers, the front of house guy,
Yep.
backstage, catering, whatever. And so it's like, I think as much making everybody feel like as important as they should be and like welcomed, and even if it is for a day or 2 days,
Yep.
like that's the key, you know, to like having a good tour and a good vibe for
Yeah,
sure.
no, I completely agree. I mean, but that's in general, I think, with life. It doesn't matter what you do, respect people, be nice,
Yeah.
and you hope that that will be sort of given back to you, or at
Yeah.
least you're going to spread the love, let's say,
Yes.
and create that nice environment, that nice happy feeling. I mean I know none of our team sort of went to the party, but even the end of season, no, end of tour party you guys all had, you know there was still an email, still a WhatsApp message, guys, I know you've not been on the tour long, but please come, blah blah. Again, nobody had to do that, but sadly we didn't go because I can't do both now, going out and getting up in the morning.
Yeah, right. And like you guys have to get up at like super early. You have to give us breakfast. So yeah, you're in bed early.
But no, so that was like amazing. But so how do you find, well, I don't even know where to start really. Where are you now? So let's start with that. Where?
Okay, so I'm in Sun River, Oregon, where I
Ooh,
live. It's like 15 minutes south of Bend, Oregon, which is probably more popular, more people know where that is. It's sort of in
okay.
central Oregon. It kind of got super popular over the pandemic. Everybody started moving here, just like a lot of places in the United States. Like
Ah,
a lot of places in the United States that are tourist type towns, like lakes and mountains and whatever, those sort of got infiltrated during the pandemic because everybody was trying to get out of the city. They're like, oh, I can work from home now, so I'm going to move to this place that I could never live at before because there was no industry or whatever. I have to be at my office in California or whatever. So yeah, so there's a lot more music coming through now. There's a lot more, awareness of it on the map. So yeah, so it's kind of it's a small town that's got a lot of hype around it right now. But I moved from Bend because I thought it was too insane. It's not. It's like 100,000 people. But like in 2018 down to Sun River, which is like closer to the mountains and closer to the lakes. And I live in the woods and I
oh,
love it because when I'm not touring, I just want to be like on vacation sort of, right? And like
yeah.
away from everyone. There's like 2,000 people in my little area. And
Oh,
I'm just like, I build fires, I split wood. I love it.
oh, amazing. Seriously, that sounds, I mean, that's what I used to do when I was touring or, any other traveling job that I've had. I always used to go back to Crete. That was my nothing,
Yeah.
go back to nothing. And it's crazy to think that 1 minute you are on the road, like we are saying, 18 hours a day,
Ugh,
you know,
yes.
the traveling, the tour buses, the this, the that, and then you go home and then you just hear the birds or you hear nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. And it's like quiet time and like, you're with people 24/7 basically for
yeah,
months at a time, and then it's like, okay. And then you're about good for that for like a week. And then when you have nothing else to do, like you go home, you're like, I need like at least a week. And then after a week, you're like, what do I do with myself? What's my purpose? Because, it's like, because you're used to like going like nonstop. It's
I don't
such a
know how
mind
you
game.
feel, but I used to obviously really look forward to going home. But then when I was home, at one point I couldn't adjust myself to the quiet lifestyle, even just, friends and all the rest of it. I had to have really like on my own just to decompress from like, the tour. But then afterwards
Yeah.
I felt kind of lonely because
Yes.
there was
Yes.
nobody in a room next door, or I wasn't going to bump in. Well, okay, different because you're going to bump into friends, but you knew wherever you're on a tour you're going to be, you're going to bump into somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
that above you or next to you there's a crew member.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
then when you come home, it's like, okay. Like you don't want to hang out with anybody at first because you just want to be alone. And then you're like, oh, where is everyone? Like, what should I do today? Like, what do I do? Yeah, yeah,
but
it's
I think
wild.
that's lovely to be in the woods. I mean, do you have any animals?
No, because I mean, I'm probably gone, I would say on average 8 months a year.
Wow, okay.
Sometimes 9,
So
sometimes a little less,
it's
but
not practical.
it's not feasible.
Yeah.
No, I would love to. And there's plenty of dogs in the neighborhood that come over and visit me when I
That's
am
nice.
here. But yeah, but it's, one of these days I'll be able to have like a
Yeah.
domesticated life.
Well, you say that. I think, well, I mean, I've changed now, but I think it's just in people's blood to just keep on doing it. Keep on doing it.
It's hard. It's hard to get out. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
It's like you hate it when you're out because you're like, I just want to be home. I mean, you love it, but then you're like sick of it and you want to be home. But then when you're home, you're like, I just want to be out again. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I
Very
always used
strange
to have
life.
that feeling of, or especially that feeling of, oh, am I going to get work? And then you don't know if you're going to get work, and then you get work, and then you love it, then you go, and then you're halfway through and you want to be home. But then when you get home, you kind of like, well, when am I going out on another tour? So emotionally, I think touring is crazy.
It's crazy. It's not normal.
No.
It's not a normal lifestyle at all.
And
It's not.
the touring world is just very lucky to have yourself and all the other people out there that want this crazy lifestyle. So how did you actually get into touring? That's what I would.
Okay. So I actually started off I have to start from the beginning. So I started
Yeah.
off doing event marketing, so experiential marketing, right? So a lot of that you could say, like a lot of, I don't know if you've been on a tour before where there were like sponsors
Yeah.
from like, companies or whatever that, do like activation in the concourse. So before I even did that, I started my career on a tour for Charmin toilet paper. Yeah. And
Right.
I was like 21 and I had a partner named Tex, and there were these teams of two in like a 14-foot box truck, and we like drove all around the country going to the like largest state fairs. And for a week before the fair started, me and Tex would completely redo a freestanding bathroom, right? So we would make it Charminized. So we put in, toilet paper dispensers and like air fresheners and like wainscoting and like put banners all over the place. And so it was like a really nice restroom for your family to go to the bathroom at when you're at the state fair, which is usually a pretty gross place to go to the
But
bathroom,
yeah.
right? So then, after we did that and got it all ready, I and my partner were bathroom attendants for the duration of the fair.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, when carnies start making fun of your job, like then like you've reached a new low. But I can tell you, after spending days and days and days in a bathroom, cleaning a bathroom, restocking a bathroom, it's like I think it was maybe the perfect job to start off because it's like I, to this day, feel like there's nothing that I'm going to be asked to do that I'm above, right? So I will help anybody do any job because any job is important at the end of the day, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's really helped me be a better person and also a better boss and a better worker,
Yeah.
when I'm on the road. It's just like setting a good example. And it was like, it's like nobody would do this job. I plunged so many toilets. I had to have tetanus shots to do this job. It was disgusting, right? Okay. So after this year of this, I moved into the office and I started doing running programs from the office. So I wasn't on the road anymore. So, but we started doing I got an account for Kellogg's, and Kellogg's has Pop-Tarts, of course, is one of their
Yeah.
brands, and Pop-Tarts was sponsoring American Idol's Live
Ah.
at the time when it was like really big, right?
Yeah.
So I think I started maybe the year of Fantasia, which was maybe the second or third season, and Carrie Underwood, and like very in the beginning. And so
Yeah.
the show was on, and then the top 10 contestants went on a tour that summer. So, and they would do arenas. So we were on that tour, doing this whole like pre-show and post-show activation around Pop-Tarts, right? So, yeah.
How do you include Pop Tarts into the tour? Like, yeah.
So, yeah. So, like, they came up with these ideas of having like karaoke in like the concourse before the show started, and it would all be like sponsored by Pop Tarts, and the Pop Tarts banners everywhere. And then after the show, there would be push activation where we would sample obviously Pop Tarts as the crowd was leaving the show. So, and of course, the tour was officially called Pop Tarts sponsors American Idol's Live, right? So it was all sort of like intertwined into whatever. And so that went on for a couple of years actually. And my brother was working with me at the company at the same time. And he was actually doing the activation. I was in and out. We had our own tour bus and everything. And the one thing that we did do, because notoriously tours hate to deal with sponsors, like just hate it. Like they're like, oh, this other like leg of people, like, that have to be on board, and we have to deal with them like during and whatever, blah, blah. So we just made it our like mission to be as easy and as accommodating to AEG, who was the promoter at the time on tour, as possible. And I think we did a good enough job because they ended up accepting us as part of the tour, which is kind of unheard of. And we actually had a really good relationship, and it ended up being a lot of fun. So anyway, I left to go to a different company, and my brother had stayed, and he ended up being like director of operations for that company, and he was doing these tours, and AEG just loved him, and so did management at the time. So they eventually asked him just to be the road manager
Yep.
for the Idols, like, which is crazy, like going from a sponsorship position to, oh, hey, can you road manage the Idols, right? And I was still somewhere else. And then they asked him if he would be tour manager, which is
Wow.
insane,
Oh my
right?
God. I love
So,
stories like this. I love
like,
stories like this.
insane. So, I was living in Spain at the time. I was a flamenco dancer for a hot minute. Well, for a minute in my life.
I
Yeah, I
need
know.
to know that one. No, sorry.
Yeah.
That wasn't on your CV.
So, so I was doing event marketing for a while, then I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't care about how much money Coke makes. Like, because at the time I was working for Coca-Cola at another company, and I had done the
Yep.
rollout for Vitamin Water, Smart Water, and Powerade when that became really big, like in like kind of
Wow.
the mid 2000s. And
Yep.
so we were doing sampling teams across the country doing that. And I just decided like, I don't care. I don't care
Yeah.
anymore. And they wanted me to start making like speeches, and
Uh,
going to like conferences about event marketing. And I'm like, I don't really care about it. I just like doing the budgeting and the organization and like the operations part.
mhm.
It's not like, I'm not really interested in the
Yeah.
marketing aspect. Anyway, so I quit. I was like, I moved to Spain to study flamenco as like sort of like a
Whereabouts in Spain?
sabbatical. I was mostly in Madrid. That's where I was based because there's a school there called Amor de Dios, which is kind of a famous school that you can kind of come in and out of at any time.
Amazing.
But I was also down in the south because that's really where, most of like the flamenco
Yeah.
is sort of whatever. So I was just
So
kind of traveling
you hear
around,
most
going to
people that go
classes.
off to be like go to India and do a yoga retreat, but you went to Spain to study
Yeah,
flamenco.
exactly.
Fantastic. Just to
Exactly. Yeah.
recharge,
Yeah.
reevaluate, what exactly
Right.
you want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, incredible.
exactly.
So then how long
So
was you doing this for?
I was there for about a year, maybe a
That's
little
nice.
less than a year.
Yeah.
And then my brother was like, hey, come work for me. I
Yeah.
need somebody to run sponsorship. And I was like, of course. Yeah. So I just dropped everything and went on tour for 3 months. And
And that was still with
then,
Idol, the American Idol.
yes, it was with
Yeah.
American Idol. Yeah. And then after that, I think I was a runner for a couple things in LA.
Hmm.
Um, not
You did a
really, not
Vegas, you did a Vegas residency. Who was that?
that was with Backstreet,
That was with Backstreet
Backstreet
Boys.
Boys.
How long was you in Vegas for?
Um, I was in Vegas on and off. So they're usually like in 3 week increments, right?
Hmm.
And then there's like a month or two in between. So I was there. We did like, it was kind of over a year span. So I think
Okay.
I was there for 3 to 4 weeks, maybe 3 to 4 times that year.
Okay.
Yeah,
How did you
which
find that? Coming from living through your beautiful woods, I can picture it now, by the way,
it's
your
not,
fire, and then go to
it's not my
Vegas.
fave. It's
Yeah.
not my fave. Um, I like the aspect of Vegas, like, it's on 24/7 all the time. It's great. But it's like when you go there, you're usually there for like, when people are going there, they're like there for 48 hours or like,
Yep.
a few days. And so they're just like on level 10 all the time. Like,
Yep.
and so I had stayed, like, Backstreet had put us up and, well, they were doing the residency at Planet Hollywood, which is Zappos Theater. And we stayed at the Planet Hollywood, which was not great because we're like just maneuvering through the hotel in from the show. It's like everybody's like drunk and partying and crazy. And I'm just like, I just want to hide.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's great. Residencies are great because you do one load in and one load out, right? And
Yeah.
then you do like a Wednesday show, a Friday and a Saturday show. That's kind of typically how it goes. And it's great. And then, but all these other days, you're sitting there in Vegas,
Mm.
like not do, you can only go out and
Yeah, there's
spend
only
so
so
much
much you can do.
money.
I said we've just come back and we had 10 days. And
Yeah.
my boss was like, Sarah, you know, 10 days, it's too long.
And I was like, well, actually, we've got the trade show in the middle. I've got a couple of days either side. I want to go to the
Yeah.
Grand Canyon. I want to do this. And I mean, we walked everywhere. But then
Yes.
once you've seen, well, I think, we did go into most of the casinos, but once you've been into one, you have seen them all.
Yeah. I mean,
You
if you're
know,
really into gambling and stuff, it'd be
yeah.
probably fun. Also dangerous
Yeah.
because you're there for so long, and it's expensive. Like everything is expensive. Food is expensive. Your
That's what shocked
your
me.
per diem is
Really.
like just out the door, because I mean, you only work 3 days a week,
Yeah, of course.
right? So it's
So
wild.
how did you entertain yourself, shall I say? Like, what, did you
You
hire a
know,
car, go somewhere, or just, I don't know, walk up and down the strip every morning for exercise?
I mean, honestly, I just kind of slept a lot. Like, and
Yeah.
I went and did some hikes,
Yeah.
um, some shopping, but really, like, it's just kind of a bum out at
Yeah.
the end of the day when you're there for so long.
Yeah.
Um, I did do another residency in 2022 with the Chicks, and we stayed at the Platinum, which I think a lot of tours do stay at the Platinum, and it's a
Mhm.
non-gaming hotel where you have an apartment. So you have like a kitchen, and so you can actually shop, make your own food, and that's quite a bit better, I
I think
think.
when you can make your own food, when you are, I mean, even on a tour, if you can make your own food, which you never do, you know,
Right.
it's so. I mean, I mean, I don't know why I even said that because you never make your food on.
No.
The best you're going to do is go to a
Sandwich on the
supermarket and buy
bus.
a pre-made salad, and take back to your room. Like,
Yeah. Sandwich on the bus. Cup of
yeah,
noodles.
exactly. I mean, nowadays, the catering, not just who you use with Rockpool, but, Eat to the Bee. I mean, you've got so many out there that are incredible caterers, and they cater for everybody to give you just simple food, healthy food,
Yes.
because, you can't live off of, even this, let's say 5-star eating and dining. You can't eat that every day, you
No,
know.
you can't. And even if it's the most delicious thing on earth, it's like for some reason it just doesn't taste good day
Yeah,
in and day out,
yeah.
right?
And
It's
I don't know
wild.
about you, like when okay, you've got load in and there's breakfast available, but you're not relaxed because you've got the day ahead. So then you're just woofing it down. Then you shoot
Yes.
with it, whichever department you're in. You're really like, you're working hard. Then it comes to lunchtime, and okay, maybe you get to sit down a little bit, but then you're like, oh no, I've got to finish this. So then you shoot off again, and then dinner time, you've got the show. So then you're rushing again. The whole eating on tour kind of doesn't really it doesn't really work, does it?
No,
Especially for you,
no. Yeah, and
because
sometimes I don't even
yeah.
eat.
No,
It's
I was
like
going
I'm
to
just
say,
eating. I don't even get out of my chair or my office to go. I mean, it's
uh,
better now. It's better when you have a PA. If you're a production coordinator and you have a PA, life is a lot better,
yeah,
because they're doing all of the things so you can concentrate on getting all your, stuff on your computer done. They're like front facing and answering a lot of questions and doing bus stock and kind of running around and helping or whatever. But if you don't, like you don't stop. Like you don't ever
yeah,
stop.
yeah.
Ever.
No, really, like that's, yeah, it's
Because you're like
pretty.
mom.
You
You're
are
like
mum.
your
Yeah,
mom. Mom, 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 mom. Everybody comes to you for everything, and it's great, but it's like, God damn, go away.
but then
So
you've
yeah.
got, so with the American Idol, that was, you was the production coordinator on that, wasn't you, or production manager, excuse me.
No, 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 no. On American Idol, I started with sponsorship, but then I was road manager
Road manager, that was it. Yeah.
for a year or two, and then I did the same. I moved on to So You Think You Can Dance, which was the
That
same
was it.
management at the time.
Sorry. So you can dance. That was it.
Yeah, so 19 management, and then had both of those when they were still a company, and so I moved on to So You Think You Can Dance. I was production coordinator for So You Think You Can Dance, and then I eventually moved to being production manager for So You Think You Can Dance for 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah, and my brother was tour manager, and it was
And he
great.
wasn't too much. See, again,
And it was
how
great.
nice working with family as well. As long as you get on, that is.
Yeah, no, we work so well. I mean, we're 14 months apart. Like, we've kind of worked together our entire lives. We had paper routes together when we were kids, and then we started touring together. He was on the bathroom tour with me, not
Yeah.
on my team specifically, but had this, you know what I mean? So we were really, really fortunate to kind of like looking out for each other, placing each other in jobs and stuff. It's been great.
Which is so fantastic. Now, one thing I was reading, their wardrobe side of things, like you were also like production coordinator, being production manager, all of these things, but then also there's you sneak in a little wardrobe.
Yeah.
So I'm taking, like, was that something that you just had an interest in, or just something you was like, I can do this?
Well, I think I was just initially asked to do it. Like,
Right.
hey, it's not going to be that much wardrobe. Can you handle it? Yeah, sometimes it's not a lot, and sometimes it's a lot,
I could never do that job.
I actually really like wardrobe. It's kind of like a mindless thing for me, like laundry and steaming. And it's kind of a way where I'm like kind of taking a break during that part of the day
Yeah.
from like, scheduling and doing travel and all the other and advancing and all the other stuff that you do on the computer to like just like, hey, I'm just gonna steam this thing and I'm just gonna do this wash. And I love laundry. Like these mindless acts that like are very simple things to accomplish, and it's just like, okay, I did that. Like those are great for me. So I really do like it. Yeah, yeah. And I was
Yeah.
sewing and I wasn't like tailoring or anything, but I mean the little bit that I did know just growing up
Right. Yeah. I mean,
came in helpful.
I learned to sew, but even my husband is like, Sarah, what's that? And then like
It's good enough.
Seriously, and then any opportunity. I mean, because we'll, all in all, this whole trip we'll be away for about a month, and whenever I see a laundrette or something, I'm like, do you know service wash?
Yeah, full service.
I was like, I mean, at home's different. Home's home. But you ask anybody, and they'll be like, "Yeah, Sarah, you really are terrible."
Yeah, this is not your thing. It's not for everybody.
So now, so how would you say since you've joined the industry and up until now, how would you say things are comparable to the amount of ladies in the industry from basically when you started until now, and kind of the attitude towards things, because we still are in a man's dominated world.
Yeah. Well, so obviously there are more ladies in the industry, especially in tech positions,
Yeah.
for sure, than there was when I started. I think ironically enough, there was a female rigger when I started, which, you wouldn't think would be common at all. And she was lovely. Her name was Suzanne. Um, but yeah, it was pretty much her and then wardrobe me.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, right? Or maybe VIP or, somebody like that. But so it's great. I mean, it's great technically that there are so many more women, right? And I think what I experienced when I first came on board, I mean, like back in like 2001, 2, right? Like eons ago, is that women were very territorial, right? So if a woman came on board, like in an assistant position, not in a tech position, because I wasn't a tech person, but like backstage, it just seemed like there was, women were hesitant to like accept other women. I feel like, because it's like, well, there's only one production coordinator. There's only one wardrobe usually. There's only, at the time. And so it was all very much like, I don't want to share my knowledge with you. I don't want to, accept you, be nice to you because, oh, you might take my job. Right.
I never thought about that. Yeah.
And I think there's still a little bit of that, I think probably, because there really is very few jobs on touring that if you're not, front of house tech, doing the lighting or whatever, or the video, like backstage, I mean, there really isn't that many jobs available at the end of the day, right? I mean, it just depends on how big the wardrobe department is or backstage or whatever. Some tours are much bigger than others, but so I feel like, so I really did, like, I just put myself in there and I was like, I'm just going to be the nicest, most accommodating, and I'm just going to do whatever they tell me. Because I was learning too. I didn't just want to be like a road manager. I wanted to eventually be a production coordinator, right? Or whatever. So I just was like, made myself the most helpful and least dramatic and just funniest and most pleasant person to be around. And I would do anything. I would like do anything. And I had the most wonderful person, Dee Dee McGee, who was the first production coordinator I worked with, that like took a liking to me. And I learned so much from her, and we're still such great friends today. So now I said to myself, it's like when I got to be what I wanted to do, like I would make it a point to always support women, always help them, never be, never shun another woman, never be like intimidated or whatever. Why?
Yep.
Because it doesn't do you any favors in the end, right? Like I experienced a lot of it and I was never going to do that. And so and then more and more women have come into the industry, and I think it's great, and I just make sure like that I befriend every woman that I can, like the lighting girl or the video tech or whatever. And I just think it's important because we always are going to be the what's the word? The minority.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important because we have different needs than men,
Yeah.
like changing spaces and, things that make us uncomfortable that, I think it's important that you have an ally in the office.
Yeah, it is. Yes, and there was actually one lady on Blink 102, and I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry, but she was was she the stage manager, head rigger?
Dory,
that's it. Yeah, she was so lovely, but just so strong, so focused, and again, you don't see that, very often, and it was just so nice. We had Sydney. I remember Sydney as well.
Yeah.
Was she your assistant to help you?
She was backstage, yeah. So
yeah.
She had her own world to deal with.
She had her own stuff going on. She did. Because I actually used to work with her years ago. So when I saw her, I mean, again, I can't be more proud, of Sydney, for, literally coming from, that's a horrible thing to say, but, working, catering, I know it's long hours for everybody, but then being noticed for her skills as being a really nice person, a hard worker, and now coming more onto the tour, the tour side of things, with the management team, and I couldn't have been more proud of her. It was just so nice to see her, and you can just see her again, just going from one step to another, and to fulfill her dreams, whatever that may be. I don't know what that is.
For sure,
But I think for you, for like, starting, as you said, sponsorship for the toilet rolls, going all the way through your life career all the way up. Obviously, your brother had asked you to come back into the touring world, but during your time in Spain, did you kind of have that feeling anyway of, well, I've enjoyed my time here, but I do want to get back into it? Like you missed it after being away? And you kind of knew, did you know where you wanted to be? Did you know you wanted to be production manager of tours and being the biggest mum there is?
When I was in Spain, it was great and all, but, you're not making any money.
No.
And I know I definitely didn't want to go back to the office working for clients. And so, I was just kind of in that state of like, traveling would be great right now. Like, I don't know exactly what I want to do, but I want to work with Neil, and I can, this is right up my alley. Just
Yeah.
like organizing, advancing, all of those things, operations basically, right? And so
Hmm.
it's like, I love this. I can do this. I My first goal was really just to be a production coordinator, which I shouldn't say just. I think production coordinating is as important as a production manager, like I do,
Without doubt.
because you're basically tour managing the crew,
Yep.
while they're like busy, focusing on the actual production. So,
And without a supportive and good production coordinator, the production manager can't do their job either.
oh, totally. Yeah, totally.
So
They have so much going on.
it is a partnership that blends together. Just taking, again, you're the front face more to the crew.
Yeah.
Everybody comes to you. I mean, I couldn't imagine how many people come to you on a daily basis for the simplest, or no matter how informative your day sheet is.
Oh, nobody reads it. I mean, I put every detail like, okay, so how I work is I put out a lot of information, right? And because I would want all that information,
Yep.
right? If somebody was giving me that. So, but most people don't read it, right? So then they
Hmm.
just keep asking me anyway, which is highly irritating. But I have to sit back and think, it's fine. Not everybody thinks like I do. And not, everybody's busy doing other things too. So it's like, I can't like hate on it, but it is frustrating, when you're sitting there. Every production coordinator will tell you this, when you sit there and you like spend all this time being so detailed, and like every question you could ever want to know is
Is
going to
there.
be in this email,
Yep.
right? And then they don't bother to read it anyway, right? But whatever. That's just kind of like a funny thing about touring, I think. But I had a thought, but I don't know where I was going with this. What were you saying?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, even on day sheets, I believe you'd actually do, like, bullet points at the top for those that don't read the email. The main things you need to know is this. What are, leave time, next hotel, travel distance, and what you're doing the next day. For those of you that really want to read, this is all the information that I would actually like to know.
That's pretty
Because again,
accurate.
like
Yeah.
I would be the same. I would like lots of information. You spend the time hoping that people read it, so then they don't ask you these questions.
But, so this is funny though. When you said, oh, I bet you get asked a lot of questions, this is what my thought was. So I was on a tour one time and I didn't have a production assistant. And so I was doing, everything that I normally do. And I set a timer. I was like, I just want to know how often somebody comes and asks me a question. So I
I
just like
love
set a little timer, and on average, it was a minute 24. Somebody would come in and ask, like on average. So you like think about it. So you're like typing away,
oh,
da, 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 da. You're trying to concentrate on like this flight or whatever you're trying to do. Somebody comes in constantly, constantly, constantly. Like it's insane.
oh, Kristen, seriously,
And
that I
so you
mean,
never get anything done, and then you get crabby, and then you're working your entire day off the next day because you
yeah,
can't get anything done, and then you make mistakes because you're not focusing. And so when production coordinators get upset about like, oh, you didn't read the day sheet or whatever, it's like, so that you don't ask me these questions so that I can actually get my job done. So then when you have a day off tomorrow, maybe I can have one too, kind of
yeah.
thing, you know. But
But I don't. I mean, 1 minute. Yeah, an average of 1 minute 20 seconds. Everyone coming in, but even if you said 5 minutes,
it's
like
insane.
even for me, I love now working. Okay, I'm on UK time now, but I love working in Crete time because I'm a whole day ahead of everyone in America.
Oh, I bet that's lovely.
It's amazing. I get up in the morning, I do everything. So then, really, I answer everybody's emails, I get everything organized, I contact people for the guests, for Geezers of
Yeah,
Gear, for here. I have no interruptions. I can edit the podcast. I can do all the social media. I can
that's
do
so
absolutely
great.
everything. Then, as soon as it hits, I would say about 6 o'clock in the evening, my time, everything comes running in.
Yeah.
And then I
Okay,
know.
yeah.
But then I have my laptop, and then I just start, I answer things, and I'm there to solve anything that needs to be solved. But really, when we were in America, because we're on the same time, I couldn't focus. Really, I couldn't focus, even because I'm one that I always have to reply to the emails, not straight away, but, just...
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's me too. Like if I don't have my inbox, if I can't swipe once and get to the bottom of stuff that I have, and then I freak out,
Oh, before the night's out, I cannot go to bed with a number one or a number two. It has to
Yeah,
be cleared. It
yeah.
has to be cleared,
That's the one thing I've actually really learned is like how to relax with that. It's like if you don't get to the email and you get it to it, it's going to be fine, because it gets to a point where like it's impossible to do. You can't work 24/7.
No,
Like you literally can't.
no. I mean, my boss often says, he's like, Sarah, he goes, I'm saying this, but it doesn't need to be done now.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, yeah, but you know me. Now my brain's ticking over and I'm not going to, I'm not
yeah.
going to
I'm
rest
just gonna
until I
not think
work
about it
out a
now.
way how to do it. Or I have to literally write a note saying, okay, concentrate
Yeah,
on everything else first. And then this is, last part of, your tasks, if you can get it done today or, for next
right.
week. Because if you tell me, don't worry about it, then it will, kind of
Yeah,
it'll go over my head. So it has to be
yes,
some kind of importance and urgency, or don't mention it right now.
right, right. I like absolutely live on post-it notes. I have a million post-it notes all around me all the time because if you tell me
Everything.
something, yeah, it's gonna go right out my ear. So it's like, okay, write it down, get to it.
If,
Otherwise, there's just no way you can retain all that information and
no, and I
questions
can't. I
and
don't know about you, but I can't write it in or make a note in my phone. It goes into my phone or a note on my
nope,
laptop. It's gone.
nope. It has to be written on a piece. I have to write it.
Me
It's
too.
like, like when you're studying and like when you're trying to memorize stuff, if you write it, it like goes into your brain better. Like typing or your phone, like forget that. I guess it's
No.
maybe I'm old, but like,
Yeah, but there's so many people like, I mean, I feel the same, where even, as I said, my boss, he's like, Sarah, he just writes, says he's, in Apple, blah, 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 remind me to do this or whatever. And I'm like, I would never get anything done if I put that into my phone. That
no, and
phone
I
is,
don't want to use any more technology to do my job than I already do. Is that, I don't know. It's just, ugh.
no,
Everybody has their system. Everybody has their system.
they do have their system, although I have to write things down, otherwise I don't remember. And at the end of every day, I have a list of what I have to do for the next day.
Me
Because my
too.
mind, yeah, do you?
Yes. Like this book. It's just lists and lists and
Oh,
lists and
same.
lists.
Yeah. But again, so everyone works differently,
Yeah.
but for me, at the end of every night, I write down my tasks. In fact, I've got two, one for work. Okay, I need to do this, 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 and this. And then personal life, what I've got to get done, whatever it may be, get that one done. And then first thing in the morning or before I write the list, I cross everything off of the old list from the night before.
And
And
isn't
if
it
there
so
is something,
satisfying to cross it off?
I
It's
love
so
it.
satisfying.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
That's the
And
best
I
part of
do
getting something done is like crossing it off.
exactly. And I'm just like, yep, I did that one. That was amazing.
So
See,
true.
organization, like that is something that, I love doing is being organized, is just that whole, yeah, the organizational skills, that come with whatever job you do. I mean, like yourself, I've done all different kinds of jobs,
Yeah.
and I feel that everything that I've touched on has led me to, different parts of my career, if you want to call it.
Hmm.
And it's made me, like I was saying, it's made me a better person for, all of the jobs and all the rest of it. And not afraid to say, oh, this will be a question for you. So if you, so you're on a tour and it's going to end, you want some time at home. Do you often take a tour like straight, exactly when you're going to be doing another tour,
Hmm.
or do you take some time out, or if there's something that doesn't feel quite right, are you like happy to say no because that there'll be something else that comes along, although it's difficult to say no?
I think that
If
ability
that
to
makes
say
sense.
no yeah, I think that ability to say no comes in time when you
Hmm.
have more confidence and you're more comfortable in your career, right?
Hmm.
So like when you first start off, it's like you don't want to say no to anything because like first of all, you want to get all the experience that you can, right?
Yep.
But also you're not confident enough to know or that the phone is going to ring. So you're like, what if I don't ever get a job again? And I just have to keep saying yes and ugh. But after you do it for so long and develop a reputation and the phone is constantly ringing,
Hmm.
um, then it's a lot easier to say no. And so like I've been very, very lucky that I don't ever really remember a time after maybe the first few years of wondering, oh my God, like, am I going to get a job? Oh my God, how, I've been lucky enough where I've been recommended and the phone is ringing. I mean, obviously it didn't happen at first, but most of the problems that I get up like worried and stressed out about are like which job to take. And I know that sounds so stupid.
That's
Like,
amazing. I
no, but
love
like it sounds
you.
so like,
Come
oh,
on.
she has so many job offers, but like, no,
No, be
really.
proud of it. Be proud of it. Seriously, you've worked hard for it. Be proud, you
And
know?
I am the type of person that I will never quit a job because something else comes along that I think is better,
That's
right?
awesome.
Because it's
Yeah.
like unless unless there's an extenuating circumstance, like
Hmm.
there's somebody that I was replacing that wants their job back, and so yeah, okay, if another job comes and like it works out, that whatever, then fine. But I just don't. I think it's bad karma, and I think it's bad. I think it leads to a bad reputation of like, well,
It
you can
does.
hire her and she's good until she sees something better. And I just don't
Yeah.
think that's the right thing to do. I mean, and I've missed out on a lot of great tours and opportunities because I said yes to something first. But that's just the way it is. And like to me, it's like everything happens for a reason. I'm supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be there.
Yeah. And
And
it's
so that's how
loyalty.
I just,
I
huh?
know sometimes it's loyalty as well. It's
Yeah,
loyalty because, if you say yes to a job, and like you said, if something comes up that's better, yeah, you can go, oh, damn it. But no, I've committed.
but
That's it.
yeah,
I'm with you. Basically, if you get me,
yes,
I'm
yes,
yours 100%.
yes. I
You
think that's
know,
so important.
it is
So, so
important.
important.
Sadly, I know quite a few people that are very happy to just
Jump.
say, yeah, jump ship,
Yeah.
or excuse my language, shit hits the fan, and they're like, nah, I'm out, I'm done, and leave. And whether that's, I don't know, I'm gonna call only people that I know, like an arrogancy of like they know they're gonna get more work. I mean, there's one particular person I know, probably the worst person, like as in for bad behavior, yet always gets jobs. Always.
Well, Sarah, let me tell you something about this industry. In this industry, you fail up. It's a
Okay.
thing. For some reason, like you have, I don't know, maybe it's the 80/20 rule or whatever, but you have certain people that will never let the ball drop, right? And that will
Hmm.
never like leave and will commit 100% and like do a really good job. And then you have the other people that aren't so great at their job and they're always like, how did this person get this job? And, how are they in this position? But they keep going
Yeah,
up. And it's like a mystery. It's a mystery in this industry, but it's crazy. And I don't
really.
know
I've
what
seen it.
it is.
I've seen it too many times, and I don't know if that's okay. I'm not saying I kind of gave up because of that, but I saw it too many times with jobs that I've had, and I was like, how did you get that? Like not not out of a jealousy, just out of
Right.
a
But just like,
like I'm organized. I'm
are you
this.
are you the guy? Are
Always
you the
smiling.
girl?
I'm
Like,
this. I'm that. And then I'm like, and then next
yeah.
minute like, oh, sorry. We don't need you on the next leg or whatever because we're taking so and so.
Right. Or you don't have, here's another one that's crazy. It's like, I find that for some reason, the more artists you have on your resume, right? Even if you're working for them for 3 months at a time or 6 months, and then you're not with them anymore, which should be like a red flag, I would think, to somebody who's hiring that person, like, why didn't you stay with this actor for longer than 3 or 6 months? Oh, but you have all these big names on your resume. Great, let's hire you. Versus the person that's been with a band for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they've only have 4 bands or whatever on their resume, but they're not qualified. But there's a reason they've stayed with them, because, they've been retained because they're good. I don't know. So like, there's also that thing too in the industry where it's like, the more people you have, the better. Who cares how long you're with them? You must be great. You must be the best. But forget about the people who've only been, with a certain artist for so many years, but have been doing this for 15. Like, it's wild to me, but it's just the mystery.
I really, really don't understand it. And I'm pretty sure, and I don't know if it's, something in me or whatever, but if I was to do something like, really bad, I'm pretty sure I'd be fired. Like, really, I'm pretty sure they would say, yeah.
But you'd get a job. You'd get a job. Like, it doesn't matter if you get fired in this. It's crazy.
But
you'll get another job.
It shouldn't be that way, No,
it shouldn't. But it's like there's certain people like me, you, a ton of people that I know that are like, I don't want to let anybody down. Like, I want to do the best job possible. Like, it's like my work ethic is everything. And then you have the other set of people that are like, I'm going to phone it in. I'm going to half-ass it. I'm just going to move from this camp to this camp, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's bizarre. It's bizarre, but I guess it takes all kinds. I don't know.
It goes into, I'm going to talk about a few, like the mental health side of things.
Yeah.
Okay? It drove me crazy, for these reasons, for, seeing different people in different, not just, any department, and you're seeing all these things happening. And I was like, analyzing what's good, what's bad, and then you find yourself, well, am I being me, or am I being someone who I think they want me to be, or someone like, really, who do I be? Do I be wild party girl over here because I know I'm going to get the best job because I've hung out with everybody
because I hang drinking? Yes.
Or am I going to be good Sarah, and I'm going to go to bed early, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work so hard and support the other people that, were hungover, and hopefully I'll get a better job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you see people that know themselves and they transform into, whatever departments or higher up or whatever
they want them to be. Yeah. That's also a thing too. It's like, because I don't go out a lot. Like, it's pretty rare for me to go out. Not that I don't like to go out, but it's like, I'm just so tired and I don't want to talk to anybody, for 12 hours. And so I usually just kind of hibernate in my room and, get all the emails I couldn't get done from the day before, or, just chill. But it's like, I'm not always the most popular person, or I don't, I'm not like on the list for the person who's going to take these people to the next tour sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I'm, you're not like out with them all the time, as part of like the cool, like group kind of thing. So, I mean, that doesn't bother me, anymore, because like whatever, but there is that thing. So when you are starting off and you're new in the industry, like that's kind of a thing you think about. It's like, I want to be in the in group and I want to be going out and like doing all the things, but I'm also really tired and I want to do my job. So what do I pick? And
I've done both. When I first came into it, I've done both. I've like tried to, but then I was never really. I'll be honest. I've never been in the in crowd. Like I haven't. I haven't.
Me either.
I'd like to think so, but I'd find one person that wants to go and explore. I would always do that, like go off on my own, and always do that. I mean, in fact, the last tour I did was for Muse, and in fact, I'd had like a year of no alcohol whatsoever, and it was the best tour I'd ever done, physically, mentally.
Yeah.
I was just really, it was just amazing.
Cool.
Yes, my body felt tired, but I wasn't tired. I wasn't ratty. I wasn't, because I'd gone out, you know,
Right.
and the clarity of everything, I could just see everything. I was like, yeah, everything's all good. You know, it was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is working. The days off, I'd always look for
Clear-headed.
someone to go for a walk. And then
Yeah.
slowly, a few people, they were like, oh, like from other departments, they're like, oh, can I join you? I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, you know, and those people that wanted to do the walk-in in the daytime when we had a day off, you know, it was so refreshing, you know, to create that, like, you know, that was our little cool group, you know, the walking groups.
Yeah. 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 And so it's like, I mean, advice for those who, you know, come up against that, it's like, I think you should just take care of you and like
Mhm.
do the best job that you can and
Yeah,
worry more about like the performance that you're putting in than who you're hanging out with at the end of the
yeah,
day. Like, I think, because you're gonna, I mean, at the end of the day, your reputation is literally everything.
yeah,
Everything, especially in this industry. It's like it's more important than your paycheck because, you know, you're going to get hired based on your performance and like, you
hmm,
know, how easy to get along with you are and how like on top of it you are and you know, and so make the better decision, you know,
yeah.
at the end of the day.
And kind of be the bigger person out
Be
of
the bigger
all of it.
person.
Like, really, be the bigger person, you know, even if it's, you're gonna hold it in because maybe you don't necessarily agree with something. But I mean, I would like to think now, let's say I've calmed down a lot, you know, in general, in life, in, you know, with the way I react to things. You know, say for example, you know, I know I'm right, but the other person's really adamant, like,
Sure.
you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, or let's move this, you know, move this somewhere, and I'm like, well, that doesn't really work, you know, it needs to go this side. But of course, again, everybody wants to put their stamp on a tour. So even if it means moving something, I'll give an example of this in a minute. And I'm there and I'm like, it's not going to work. But they don't want to
Right.
listen. Okay, they don't want to
Right.
listen. And I'm like, okay. So I just walk away, do something else, and then later I can guarantee I go back and it's like some would say, oh yeah, sorry, that, you know, that was the better way and we've done it like that now, or whatever. The It will come out. It will come out naturally. You don't need to
Yeah.
fight it. You don't need to be horrible. You don't need to get into an argument.
Right.
And if their way works, then amazing. I've not caused a scene. It's worked. It's, you know, but again, you'll get respect from being, say, that person, but also slowly over years of doing touring or whatever it is you're doing, you know, people will say, oh no, I think Kristin's right, you know, we're going to do it her
Yeah.
way, straight
Yeah.
away, you know.
Yeah.
Just an example, like when one of the catering rooms, shall I say, and it was such a small room. I mean, really small room. This was on Blink. You know, we're already rushed out things. I wasn't doing
Yeah.
like the dining room, but I walked in and, you know, there's all the power on the right hand side. Now it's a square room basically. All the power on the right hand side, and the fridges, everything had been pretty much set up by I don't know what, our advanced man. And I was like, okay, awesome. Really, this is a quick setup. Get in, flight cases, bain marie, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'll leave you. Yeah, awesome. No, one person had a better idea that they wanted to set everything up on the other side of the room, but they had to call the electrician to do a cable from the main, you know, the 6-pin,
Right.
you know, to go all the way over, just, you know, to hold it up, to pin it up, to put it on the other side. So they set everything up. Then they're calling the electrician. We need the electrician. Now, bear in mind, the electrician is now on stage, you know, because that's what needs to be done right now, not the catering. So he's come in, what's the problem? And he goes, well, the power's there. And they go, oh, yes, no, but we want it this way. And he goes, you're here for one day. And he walked out.
Don't make
Really.
it
And
harder on yourself than it needs to be.
seriously. And then I was like,
Like,
guys, I was like, now everybody's stressed. I mean, really
right.
stressed, because now everyone has to move everything over to the side where there's the plugs.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, like, I didn't see the logic. You know, if we're there for a week, okay. It was one day, but they wanted to put their stamp on that room to make it different for how everybody else does it. You know, it's just...
And I bet what you didn't do is I bet you didn't say I told you so.
No.
Because you're a professional. And that is the best way to go about it. Is just be like, okay, yeah, that didn't work. Okay, great. Let's go back over here. Right? Like,
let's move it. Let's smile.
People skills, huge in this industry. It's like, if you have people skills, great. If you don't, you're going to struggle. You're definitely going to struggle, especially if you're like a crew chief or somebody who's in charge of, you know.
Again, though, you say that they struggle, but then they still get the jobs.
I know. That's the mystery. That's
anybody out there?
The irony of this
why? Please
whole
tell us both
industry. I don't get it. But they're gonna get They're gonna get it again.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have the same complaints from the same people.
I'm not on tour. I'm at my auntie's, so you know, like, damn it.
But everybody who's really good in this industry knows that's the truth, and they just do. You know, it's like everybody knows it's the truth, and it's bizarre and hard to explain, but it is what it is.
So, being, you know, production manager, do you try and, like you were saying about with the ladies being on tour, do you try and, it's simple things, but like allocating, say, okay, that's going to be the ladies' shower, or that's going to be at the end of the night, or, you know, those kind of things, or making sure that, I'm not saying a special treatment for the ladies, but
no, but for sure, like, you know, anything to make them comfortable, you know. Yes, if we have enough rooms, we always make signs that say female shower or whatever, or if we don't have enough rooms, and a big one is the shower that's in the production office, that becomes the female shower, right? And if there's not, you know, a door, then we put up pipe and drape, and then I'm a sign, or I'm there to, you know what I mean? Because a lot of females, are very, you know, conscious about that. And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of a different kind of person. Like I
don't care. Just for the record, I don't care.
I don't care. Like, I don't care. I've been walked in on, and like, I'm just like, really, dude, and whatever.
Is when you get, whether it's ladies or not, but you get, you know, the big group showers, especially in America, you know, you're going in the change room with all the group showers. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I just strip down Starkers and I go in. Another girl like, oh no, I can't go in at the moment. So then there's all like, you know, 10 showers, and they're just in there. You know, and everybody has their own comfort level, and I totally respect that. Like, completely respect that. And so I think that's really important. And I think, and a lot of guys, like, really respect that too. You know, they're like, oh, the females in there. Oh, you know, and I think that's wonderful. That, you know, everybody's... There's a lot of guys out there that are shy, and they wouldn't want a group shower with lots of
100%. I would say more often than not, like in the old days, that, you know, group shower was way more common, right? But like nowadays, with this next generation, like, nobody wants to share a shower. Everybody's kind of, no matter what, men or female, they're kind of all just like, oh, and that's fine, you know. But I think that's totally important to make women feel comfortable, for sure, and, you know. And there's a lot of...
What would be your, let's say, I don't want to say your motto, because I know it's all about not necessarily your motto for things, but what would you say that you put your stamp on, that's like your little uniqueness to a tour? Like, you know, is there anything that you do necessarily that you feel that you do differently to anybody else? Even as far as the day sheet, you know, you've just said that you like to give an in-depth day sheet. You know, that you're putting a stamp on it. So something that
I also put fun facts at the bottom too.
There we are.
To see if anybody will read it.
No, I used to read it. I was only with you for 4 days. I read it.
I usually put fun facts at the bottom to see if actually anybody gets down to the bottom, and then they figure it out, and then they just read the fact and not anything else.
I remember being on a Stereophonics tour, and the production coordinator then there was basically the logo at the bottom, but she'd embedded basically a fun fact into it every day.
Yeah.
But nobody knew about it. But then when the whispers went round, like someone clicked on it, maybe she told
Oh,
someone.
you had to click on. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. But then at the beginning of the tour, nobody was talking about it because, nobody knew about it. Then of course, word got out. And then as soon as the day sheet came out, you saw it like what's a fun fact? What's this? And you click on it and you'd open up. So maybe that's something you can, then be reading.
It's like one step further. You actually have to do something else to actually get the fact. That's interesting. I don't know if there's anything like signature thing that I do. I just really try to create an environment where I am beneath nobody. Like, I am sitting behind my computer and I'm in charge of, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, that nobody else is really in charge of. But like, I really try to create an environment where like everybody is equal. Everybody can come in the production office. Everybody can ask a question, whether it's dumb or not, unless you never read the day sheet. And then I do yell at you in a very nice way. If I'm like really busy, but like, then it just becomes like a joke, like, oh, never ask Kristin about the day sheet because she'll yell at you. But, but like, my production assistant isn't really my assistant. Like that's my co-pilot, and I will help that person out with anything. If they're getting overwhelmed and they're juggling a million things too, it's like, I'll stop what I'm doing to help that person. Like, even if it's putting bus back on a bus or ordering after show food or something, like, the backstage coordinator, anything that I can do to help them. Like when I'm done with what I'm doing, I push cases to the truck, to help everybody just get out faster. If that's what, is appropriate for the tour. Some people don't like that, whatever. But like, I just, that's kind of like that's kind of like my signature is like, I just try to maintain that, vibe that like, we're all here, we're all important. We're all like, we'll all be out faster if we help each other. Like nobody's above anything else. And that's kind of how I roll.
But again, that's a great work ethic. That's a great human. I love using that
I
word.
just think it's like touring is really hard. Like 18 days are stupid. Like that. Like and when you talk to somebody who doesn't tour, they're like, But for us, it's like, oh, it's whatever, and like they fly by like that. Like it's like get up at 6. The next time you look at the clock, it's 10. Then it's like 6 p.m. And then you know what I mean. It's like it flies. But I think that is so, so, so important. Otherwise, it's miserable. It can be miserable,
Like we said before, it can be a very lonely world to work in.
Yeah, my friend Ethan, he said it to me. He said it before. He's like, touring is what did he say? It's like, it's the loneliest occupation being around everyone 24, like being around people 24/7. It's, it can just be like that. And he's right.
And especially if you do get, I've been on some amazing tours, that people, generally all of them have been wonderful, really kind-hearted people. Then there's been others where I've seen it, they stir up trouble, in different departments. And you're like, why? Why would you do that? Why? And
why?
I mean, for me, obviously when I was like, let's say the front of house, I would notice people and like being looking after people, and a couple of times it's happened where I've thought, wow, you're really rude, like, and straight away you kind of want to go on the defense, and then I kind of step back. I'm like, well, I'm going to ask him or her, later point when they're quiet, and sometimes I say, is everything okay? And then next minute they're like, actually no, like I've got problems at home. I've got this going on. And then they'll be like, I'm really sorry, I was a bit sharp before. Like, I didn't mean that on you. And I was like, well, I didn't think you did. I said, so I thought I'd check in with you, make sure you're okay. And then before you know it, you see the person the next breakfast come in with big smiles.
Yeah.
Happy and thank you. And then don't get me wrong, you know, the next 30 minutes, you know, they're trying to talk to you about the life. But, you know, we don't know what's going on in everybody's minds. And,
Correct.
you
And
know,
home
it's
life
not.
is a big thing. Like home life, because like people have families at home. People have
Yeah.
it's so hard to be gone. I don't have a family, so I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm lucky. I'm sad about it a little bit, but like, you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, I can't imagine doing what we do and then being away from everything else that's going on thousands of miles away from you and not being there and still trying to have to manage that. Like that's an insane amount of stress, you know?
And
So
knowing when you're gonna FaceTime, oh, okay, I'll FaceTime you
yeah,
tonight, you know, or, you know, I'm gonna check in on I mean, I know people that, in fact, I know quite a few like married couples that have got kids, and they take it in turns. So one goes out on tour, one looks after the
yes,
children,
yeah, I've
then
heard
the
about
other
that.
way round, which I do love, by the way. I love their, you know, many people I know that do this. I love their team, like their little family team. Like I love seeing it. I
Yeah,
love hearing it. And then they take time out and they go away with the kids. So then they've got you know, a real good family holiday together.
yeah.
But then, you know, each of them will say, oh, okay, I've got to go back now. You know, not I've got to go back, but, you know, it's FaceTime time. You know, the kids are going to bed now. And it's even more pressure when you're on a tour to do that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
set an
Yeah,
alarm.
to
And,
check in, to make sure like whatever
yeah,
time zone you're gonna see that kid at that point
yeah,
when they're awake or,
yeah.
you
Or get up
know,
extra early because, you know, they're tired, and, you know, and I mean, most partners that I know are very understanding because they are, again, in the industry. But, you know, I also know other people that are like, well, why haven't you called or messaged me? Just, oh,
oh,
I'm a
that's a
bit
whole
like,
other thing.
hmm,
Yeah, it has to be so stressful. I mean, just dating, like
yeah,
not even having a child with somebody, but just dating is like, oh, you know, you're like you're all you're doing is you're like oh you're on tour so you're drinking and doing drugs and like all this fun
and
all the
having
time, you know.
fun.
It's like I have no fun. I have absolutely no fun. Like, you know, well, why can't you talk to me because I have somebody coming in my office every minute 24 seconds
Yeah,
asking me a question, you know, but like I'm so and it's like you're so apologetic, but it's like but now I'm with somebody who does also tours, right? And even though it's very and we've been together since the pandemic so like 5 years, but it's like it's really great because he like completely understands like
understands.
what I'm doing, where I'm at, like why I can't talk, why whatever. But the hard thing is too is like we may never see each other for an entire year because
Yeah, that's
I'm on one
crazy.
tour, he's on another, and if our schedules don't, so all we do is FaceTime, you know.
Yeah,
So and you just have to be good with that. And like we're great, like we are great, but
yeah,
it's challenging no matter what relationship, family situation you're in. Touring isn't it's not easy at
yeah.
all.
No, I
So
agree.
mental health is really, really important. You know, and I know they're
Have you
doing a
heard
lot
of
more of that.
Behind the Scenes Foundation? So,
Do I have a foundation?
but no, have you heard of Behind the Scenes
Oh yeah.
Foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do a lot. I say we do. I like to do a lot, like sort of for them because I think spreading the word about what they do is incredible, and you know having these support stations and you know online therapy, you know all of these awareness courses that you can do, you know, as say like me, you know, like you sign in and you know these are the signs to look out for, you know, this is
Yeah.
if you're on tour with someone, then you know this is what you can do, this is, you know, making people more aware that being in the touring industry is hard,
It's hard. It's
you
hard.
know.
Whether just you don't have to have like an addiction. You don't have to have like a, you
No.
know, like a physical
I mean,
problem. Like just the toll it takes on you, you know, being gone all the time and like dealing with people that you can't ever escape from if you don't get
yeah,
along with them like in your crew, you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
whatever. It's like it's a lot, you know. And I
yeah,
really think that there should probably be I mean, you know, tours are like don't want to spend any money these days. I mean, they used to spend a lot of money, but like,
yeah.
you know, there should be somebody like you know, there used to be like a massage therapist that would go out on tours.
It was
Now, I feel like there should be like, you know, a mental health therapist, sometimes,
It's
but
so
she,
funny you say that because a friend of mine, she was called Therapy on Tour, and she also did lighting as well. But I thought the concept of having a therapist on tour was incredible because people could go to her, because everyone's schedule's different, lighting goes in this,
yeah,
they finish sooner, there was no end to, availability to go in and see her. Obviously,
yeah,
what happened in that room stayed in that room. And I was talking to Laurie from Behind the Scenes Foundation. I was like, the funny thing is, now that there isn't any money, there's not money for a therapist to go on tour. And also to be a therapist to go on tour, I mean, really, I think you'd have to actually study therapy in the touring world to actually go on tour and be that, like
yeah. It's like you have to be a touring person to, yeah,
to
before you can
to
actually,
understand it,
right,
So
100%. Yeah,
maybe they'll do another degree in that at some point. But for tours, I just feel that should be a person that should be on there, especially not short tours but like long tours, worldwide tours that go on for 2-3 years. You should have that safe
yeah,
space to go. You've got a crew room, but that's not a safe space.
yeah. No,
There should be a safe space. There should be somewhere you can go and just talk to somebody, just to vent your anything you need to do about
yeah,
home life, work life.
yeah,
But sadly, the tours, like you said, there's no budget now. Who's going to hire one person to go on tour to be that
yeah.
ear,
Just be there in case,
a room, a bus space, all of
Yep.
this? But then I was joking. I was like, but then you have a permanent tattooist on the tour.
Yeah.
Why?
No, it's so true. It's so true. We actually had yeah, we did. We did on Blink. Love, I mean, the guy is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
love him so, so much. But right, like, and he was part of VIP, but that they're not always part of VIP. Like, they have
No.
some of these auxiliary positions of like, okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if any bands that are out there, like seriously, listen, we you can go get a tattoo in the next day off. Hire the tattoo studio. Get all the crew to go in for a day
Right.
out and have a
Right.
tattoo. But
Or bring
please
a tattoo artist locally, which a lot of tours do.
hire somebody to go on
Yeah.
tour with all these crew members to
Yeah.
actually look after them and the mental well-being. But then I suppose on the same flip side to that, I mean, I have said no to what one in particular tour, because I looked at the schedule and I was like, no. Like really, it was like 7 days straight. In out, in out, in out, in out, in out. And I was like, I don't think I can physically do that. Like really, that it was just there was so much, and then like the day off was a travel day, but a long travel, like a 24 hour and straight into
Yes.
something else. And I was like, do I need the money that bad? I was like, no. Like
Yeah.
really, and
And that,
so I have to say I have said no to a tour for that. But then I was pleased I did, because I knew that my mental health couldn't
oh
have handled that.
no.
Oh, oh no.
Oh
I think we may.
no.
Hello.
Hey.
Well, that's not bad. That's an hour and 23 minutes.
Oh, we
And
did
the,
good.
and the internet just flickered. But I can't believe we've been chatting for an hour and 23 minutes.
Oh my
So,
God, that flew by
I
so
know.
fast.
Where did it go? So, what are you working on now? Is it just holiday time, Christmas time? And what plans do you
Yes.
have
Well, so yes. So I said no to one or two things like right after Blink. I was just like, I can't. I'm too tired. I need to like spend time with my parents and like, just be home. I need that like reset time. There's a lot of people that just like can go boom, 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 boom. And like, I'm not that person anymore.
Mm-mm.
So after Blink ended, we did one show in Mexico City, their final show on the 4th of November. And I've just been with my parents. I've been back. I've been seeing family. And then I got wrangled into doing this rap festival last weekend, very last minute. But it was like, okay, basically 3 days of my life, and they paid me well. So I did that. But
Yeah.
now I'm back, and I'm happy to do nothing until I'm hoping February. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't have a gig for next year. Which is like one of the first times in a long time that I
yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. But I'm not worried about it.
That's great.
Um, you know, I'm not. I might be, give it a month or two, but
Yeah.
for right
Get,
now, I'm just
if by February I call you and I'll be like, what are you doing? And you're like, ah.
still nothing. Ah! You know, but yeah, so we'll see what happens. But I'm not stressing. I'm really just like trying
And
to live life,
see, I think as well, having a work-life balance is, well, you need it. You need a work-life
It's
balance.
impossible on tour, like because you're never not working,
Yeah,
right? So when you get home time, it's so important. Like
yeah.
that's why I, like rent. Well, I rent. I'm trying to buy a house, but it's just like I can't find one yet. But a lot of people, the point is, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gone so much, I'll just live out of a storage unit and live here and there. Hell,
No,
no.
no.
Like to be able to come home to your place where your stuff is in your closet and like your bathroom, even if you're there for a month out of the year,
Doesn't
is
matter.
priceless.
I
Priceless.
100% agree because I've done that living out of,
Yeah.
suitcases and,
Yeah.
1 week here I'll go stay with a friend if I'm in between something. And really I was unstable then. This was like many, many years ago.
Yeah.
Really I was unstable. And then
Not
as
good for your
soon
mental
as I
health.
had my little house, this is going back 15 years ago now when I moved to Crete. And okay, the rent was cheap there. It's cheap, so I
Right.
didn't really mind, but I had my base. My base, I knew my stuff was there, and really that made such a huge
Oh
difference
my God.
for being away.
It's
You
everything.
know, like, and I never believed anyone. Like all my life, I mean, I've always travelled from 18 all the way up till, well, really up until I stopped just before, well, when COVID happened. I stopped
Yeah.
travelling, and I don't travel now at all. But really, like that was the having that base, having that security, knowing that I had a home.
Like you have somewhere to go that's
Yeah, and who'd
yours.
have thought it?
Yeah.
I should have listened to my mum all those years ago.
I know,
Get
right?
yourself
Moms
a
are,
base.
I know. Like I was like with me and my brother, I'm like, God, mom was right about
Oh,
everything.
don't.
Like she loves to hear that, of course, but it's true. It all just like it's like it's so great. Aging is so great because it's like you mature in such a way where like things don't matter so much anymore, and like you kind of figure out like what's great for you, and things don't bother you, and you're not worried so much. I love it. Like I love being like older. I'm usually one of the oldest people on tour. Well, somewhat, but
You love being you. I love being me. And like you said, not worrying. I mean, I am a worrier. Okay, so I will throw that out the window. I do worry. I overthink things. Because I
oh
want it to
yeah,
be perfect.
I can tell. You don't want to let anybody down.
Totally.
Like you're that personality. I'm the same. It's like I don't want to let
Yeah.
anybody down. I want it to be perfect. I'm a Virgo for crying out loud.
Aries on this side. But yeah, but then slowly I am really realizing that, okay, just calm.
Yeah,
Don't
everything's gonna be
overthink
fine.
it. Don't, like everything's going to be fine. Um, if you don't answer that email straight away, it's okay.
Right.
I mean, I've actually got a nice little paragraph at the end of my email sign out, and it actually came from a lovely gentleman that works at Martin, Ben Payne, and he'd sent it to, I'd seen it on his, and I said, I've got to copy that because it was so relevant to, we all work around the world. So it was like,
Yeah.
I'm sending you this email at the time that's convenient for me, looking after our well-being and our mental health and our everything, basically our well-being. Please respond at the time that suits you. I'm not expecting a reply. And I was like, it's amazing. And every now
Yeah.
and again, I have to read it to remind myself.
I've read that. I think of your email. Yeah. I think it's
you know,
great.
Because it's true, you know, like right now, I don't know what time it is for you now, but it's now 6 o'clock at night for me.
10 a.m.
So it's 10 a.m. for you, it's 6 o'clock now for me. And as I said, now America's like waking up, so then I
Yeah.
start responding to stuff. But okay, if I'm home, I don't mind, you know, I'll leave the laptop on if something comes in. But again, you're not switching off all the time, you know? So working worldwide and remotely is amazing. But I have to
But
read my own email paragraph
yeah,
sometimes.
no, because it's like you'll never stop, and that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's even funny. My boss Marcel, you know, if I do, I mean, really, I'm terrible. Like when we're back home, I'll probably be getting ready for bed between 9 and 10. Really, 9 or 10 at night.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Wintertime, I've been known to go to bed at 8. Like, you know, it's dark, it's cold, and I'm gonna go to sleep. Sorry, if I'm tired, I'm
Yeah.
tired.
That was me last night. I was in bed by 9. I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Seriously.
Because it gets
And
dark
why
at
not?
4:30, and it feels like it's like, 11 p.m. when it's like 8,
Exactly. And then if I do respond to, you know, something like after, 10 o'clock, he's like, what are you doing up?
Yes, I love that when they catch you on that, and you're like, okay, good. I work for a great person.
It's like, go to bed. I'm like, yes, sorry.
Yes, sir,
You're
you're
not going to
right.
die. Yep, you'll get it done tomorrow. Yes, I will. Well, Kristin, I thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
It's so much because,
you.
believe it or not, we didn't actually have really any time to chat on Blink 182 anyway.
I know
Uh,
we didn't, did we?
literally, I think I came up to you like at the last minute and said, "Hey, will you come and talk to me on my
Yeah.
podcast?"
I'm like, I don't know if I'm that interesting, but okay, great.
No,
Yeah, let's do it.
really, I've loved it. I said that's just
Great.
flown by. Really,
Yeah, no,
absolutely
it really
flown by.
has. I'm really glad that you asked me, and I'm glad that I did this. It was really, really fun.
Thank you, and I hope
Yeah,
somewhere around the world our paths cross again in real life.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I
and
appreciate
if
the
you're ever
opportunity.
in Athens and you got some time off either side of a tour, come and see me on Crete.
Yes,
Grab
please.
a
I've
pizza
only
that one.
been to Greece maybe once or twice, and you never have any time. At least I never do.
Yeah,
So
true.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love
So
to.
my door's always open.
I love that. Well, happy
Okay.
holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you too.